Hi, my name is Patrick O'Rourke. I'm a Houston immigration attorney, and today I want to talk about the new Parole in Place program by President Biden. So this is mostly going to benefit people that are trying to adjust status and they don't meet one requirement, and they're only short one requirement, and it's one of the hardest requirements to meet for adjustment of status. So adjustment of status is the way to get the green card. If you're in the U.S., the other way to get the green card is at a U.S. consulate abroad, an immigrant visa, consular processing. But if you're in the U.S., there's a process known as adjustment of status, and there's one requirement that some people find difficulty meeting, and that's to have a lawful admission. So people that don't have a lawful admission or a parole into the U.S., well, this Parole in Place program will solve that problem. So the first requirement to qualify for this new program is to show that you've been in the U.S. for 10 years since June 17th, 2024. So you've got to be here since June 17th, 2014. And so you're going to want to start gathering those documents to prove you were here. When it does open up, which they say they're going to publish the regulations at the end of summer, they're going to publish exactly, what has to be submitted, and they may allow those applications to go forward. You never know. It could be suited. There could be an injunction. President Trump could win and just cut it off. But if it does go forward, then you're going to want to start gathering those documents now, because people lose documents. In Houston, it's raining outside, and there was just a hurricane, and houses flood, and people lose documents. So I would suggest you start gathering those documents now, so that if and when it does open up, you'll have those documents already ready and prepared to submit with your application. The second requirement you're going to have to show is that you were physically present in the United States on the same day, June 17th, 2024. You're going to want to submit the same kind of evidence to show you were here. So that's going to be leases, school records, medical records. It's going to be, it could be affidavits, it could be photos, there could be lots of things, bills, something that says you paid something, so a receipt. There could be lots of things that you could show that you were in the U.S. So just start gathering those documents now, because you'll want to have a fair number of documents to prove that you meet those two requirements. So again, you're going to want to prove to somebody, a person, a human being, you're going to want to convince them that you were here continuously for 10 years and you were physically present on the June 17, 2024 day. So trying to convince someone, that legal standard is known as preponderance of the evidence. So you're going to want to submit enough documents to show that it's probably true. You don't have to convince them with certainty or 100% guaranteed I was here continuously. You just have to try to convince someone. So it's just a human being. They're going to look at your documents and say, yeah, this guy was probably here. Or, I don't know, he submitted like one document. It was a letter from his aunt that said maybe he was here. I didn't see him. So you're just going to want to think about it and go through your documents and make sure that you have everything in order. So when it does open up at the end of summer, you're ready to submit right away, because if it does open up, you will want to be one of the first people to apply, because it could be ended by a future president. It could be ended by a lawsuit. So try to get your applications in early, because you never know what the future holds. The other issue that I've seen come up are people that have a waive-through admission. So it's unclear the guidance exactly how that's being handled, or the advice that people will receive. But generally, I think the consensus is that if you were waived through and you don't have any proof that you were waived through, which you wouldn't because it's a waive through. So again, the waive through admissions are people that presented themselves at the border, but they didn't have any lawful means to come in. They didn't have a border crossing card. They didn't have a B1, B2 visa, and they were just in a car, and the border officer were just waving people through, just go ahead. And so that used to happen regularly, and different immigration offices across the nation are handling it different. In Houston, it's been my experience that the Houston district office has been very reluctant to grant those adjustment of status cases where the individual doesn't have any proof that they came in and they only have their affidavit. Some are getting approved and some are getting denied, which is not, in my opinion, a lawful way for the Immigration Service to handle it. Case law, it's a matter of Quilantan, says that a person can prove up that they came in to the United States with just an affidavit. At any rate, this Parole in Place program is another means to help satisfy the requirement that you have a parole into the U.S. So it will be another means to satisfy the requirement for adjustment of status that you were inspected or paroled into the U.S. So the other requirement is that you have to show you were married to a U.S. citizen as of June 17th, 2024. And so, of course, this also includes common law marriages. So just keep that in mind. Even if you don't have a marriage certificate, you can still present other evidence that you meet the requirements for a common law marriage. So you're going to want to show that the common law marriage predated that date, and you'll have to submit evidence that you told other people. So the best evidence is going to be something like a tax return. You filed joint tax returns, married filing jointly. There's other ways to prove up a common law marriage, but you're going to want to really make sure that you have the documents to prove up your marriage, whether it's a marriage certificate or a common law marriage, and that you told other people that you intended to be married and that you resided together. And it depends on the state where you live as well. But here in Texas, we recognize common law marriage. And of course, the federal government, the Immigration Service, they have to recognize state law that recognizes common law marriage as well. There's 3 other requirements, and I'm just going to kind of all group them together, is you can't have certain convictions, you can't be a national security or public safety risk, and the other one is you're deserving of discretion. Discretion just means, does the good in your life outweigh the bad? And it's a balancing test. So even though you don't have a disqualifying conviction, if you have several of them, it may start to look like you're just not a good person. And so you'll want to counterbalance that with the good in your life. And that's what discretion is. And so if you do have one of those discretionary or criminal issues, you may want to visit with an attorney. Again, thanks for watching, and hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you have any questions.